Welcome back to Hooligan Nation, a KISS-Centric podcast. I'm Anthony.
And I'm Rocco.
No, you're not. You're Johnny, but we'll let you have a stage name. Another Wednesday and another all-original bonus episode where we cut the fat and get right to the point. This week, we discuss Gene Simmons' latest interview that has turned some of the KISS Army upside down and has them running around like their hair is on fire. Before we even discuss this, if you are in our audience, please take the 30 extra minutes out of your life and watch the interview with Kyle Meredith for yourself. It can be found on YouTube at his channel, Kyle Meredith with. Did you watch the interview?
I did. A lot of the stuff is the same old stuff, answers and questions and stuff that Gene. I mean, one thing's for sure, Gene's been doing his interviews. He's been on the circuit, doing a lot of interviews with a lot of people.
I find it funny. Like I watched this video. I read like 5 or 6 articles over the last, I don't know, couple days, I guess. And it wasn't until last night that I watched the interview. It's about a 30-minute interview, and about 28 minutes of this interview is nothing new and nothing that's anywhere near newsworthy. It's filled with the same Gene shtick, same self-promotion, and all the talk of rock being dead and why no one can make it in the music industry these days. But then there's that 2 minutes, and let's give Gene credit. He can whoop the fans up at any time and often does. It's about at the 1940 mark where Kyle Meredith asks about Kiss Storms Vegas. And Gene says, and I quote, "We promised we're not going to go back on tour, and we are not." He went on to say, "We're going to jump up there and do some tunes with friends." How this became clickbait newsworthy, I will never, ever, ever figure out. Every time I go on the internet, the last couple days, it's, oh my God, Kiss isn't performing at Kiss Storms Vegas. Oh my God, Eric Singer isn't coming. Dude, he didn't even name Paul, Eric Singer, or Tommy by name in the I think it was less than 2 minutes that he actually talked about Kiss Storms Vegas. There's nothing there.
I can't figure out KISS Army stuff.
I can't figure out how people can make this shit up. They are making shit up.
Well, you know what it is though, the title itself, Kiss Storms Vegas, it makes you expect a lot. And then he comes across and he's really downplaying it, so you don't know what to expect. But I mean, Tommy Thayer, Black and Blue, like there's a lot of bells and whistles that seem like it's planned for that. And Gene's kind of saying it's just gonna be, pop up on stage here and there, and meet and greet. It's all about the embracing the fans and stuff like that. So you know what I'm saying? Like Kiss Storms Vegas, it sounds like a big deal. And when you listen to him talk about it, they plan everything. So for him to not go into detail, it really tells you all you need to know, really, because that's what they do.
Right. He's playing us. I found it funny, just as a side note. No matter how non-newsworthy an interview is with any of the members, the original members of KISS, he did take the time out to poke Ace and Peter about being thrown out of the band 3 times, of course. But I don't know. It kind of blows my mind, and I think it's kind of unfair that the media plays the fan base the way they do, and the way we are today. Nobody takes time and watches it themselves. They read headlines and then they go running and spreading it across the internet on message boards and everywhere else. And it's not until you actually watch the 30-minute interview that you go, what what did I miss? When it was over, I thought maybe I got a condensed version of the interview and continued to search for the full version because I was like, come on, man. There's got to be something here. And as it turned out, there was nothing there.
I was surprised by one area of things that he was talking about, and I thought it was kind of funny, and I was surprised by it because of some of the weird lanes he's taken musically. How he hates opera. He said it was agonizing that he's the times that he's been to opera, and he thinks Broadway is confusing. Being that he's acted before, being that he's done some weird shit on his solo album, like I was surprised that he doesn't appreciate any of that. That was kind of comical the way he responded to that.
Well, I hate opera also. And as far as Broadway being confusing, I'm not sure that I completely understand.
I got different lanes, man. I dig opera at times, and I can appreciate both.
You're a weirdo, so
Thank you.
look, I think the bottom line of this is this. They're not going to give us more information than they need to until they want to, because I guess they feel like they don't have to. I heard somewhere that there's about 800 tickets left.
That's surprising.
So if you're going off an unofficial total that I've seen on the internet of 4,500, out of 4,500, there's 800 spots left. So I got to believe at some point, if those 800 spots aren't moving, is going to come the next step to promotion and marketing. I just don't think they're there yet.
Hmm.
There's no way, I'm going to beat this dead horse. There's no way that I believe that Eric Singer is not going to be included.
Yeah, I don't see
There's
that.
just no way. I mean, all the way up until November 14th, I'm going to believe Eric Singer is showing up.
You know what?
Until he doesn't show and it's over, that's when I'll believe he's not going to show up. I just don't understand, and we've talked about it over and over again in the last couple weeks. I don't really understand. Like, if you're trying to sell tickets, uh, Eric Singer isn't going to move the needle. Now, implying that, well, if Eric Singer isn't there, the only living other KISS drummer is Peter Criss. I mean, that may be their game. That's an intricate game, if you ask me. Like that, you gotta be overthinkers like we are for that. Cause I've already overthought the hell out of that.
Well, there's more of the overthinkers that are Kiss fans than aren't. So
I guess there is. I just thought, look, it's nothing against Kyle Meredith. He had nothing to do with it. It's against the trolls and the larger, more mainstream media that's putting articles out, literally putting words in Gene's mouth. And if there's anybody out there that doesn't need anybody to put any words in their mouth, it's Gene Simmons. Enough words come out of his mouth that no one should ever do that. And if he's got something to say historically, he says it and really doesn't care what the reaction is to it. The fact that he completely blew it off, which is how I took it, well, that may be a story. But anybody who took from that less than 2 minutes that he talked about Kiss Storms Vegas, anybody that took that as Eric Singer's not showing up is fabricating. Uh, he said, he said, I guess he didn't say it in that one. He must have said it in an interview, another interview, that he may bring his solo band. So I can understand that. That's probably good for his 2026 tour dates. get up there and, I don't know, maybe play 3 songs to solo band.
He's definitely enjoying his solo gig right now.
I don't blame him. He gets to be a big, bright, shining star. And we all know Gene loves to be a big, bright, shining star.
Gene has learned the game and probably is like one of the best experts at playing this game in the world of entertainment. He knows how to market this band. He knows how to get people interested. Obviously him and Paul together, but it serves a purpose. If he's downplaying it, it's serving a purpose in his mind right now.
I think everything that the KISS Corporation does is calculated.
Yeah, they're businessmen first before anything else.
Right. So I agree with you. There has to be a reason why it felt like he didn't promote it at all.
Right. I mean, hooligans, if you heed our advice and you listen to the interview, you'll know exactly what we're talking about. Like it was an obvious downplay. Obvious.
He promoted vodka, soda, an AI company, a movie production company, 2 movies, his solo band, longer than he promoted Kiss Storms Vegas. So I thought there was a couple interesting things in the interview. I mean, he gets led into the Rock is Dead thing. I'm not really sure that I agree with what he said, the whole 1958 to 1988. I think we've talked about it in the past of him saying that. I would, I might get killed for this, but I would argue that Taylor Swift is this generation's, Beatles, Pink Floyd, Madonna. He threw Madonna in there, which is why I went to Taylor Swift. Like,
Yeah, I don't think it's a bad take by you. I understand kind of what he's saying. Like, I mean, she attracts the kids, most more than anything else.
that's what
And
Madonna did.
yeah, but
That's what the Beatles did.
yeah, but
Didn't
I'm
the
talking
Beatles do that?
sustain though.
I mean, you're
Sustain.
the
You got
Beatles fan, but the
yeah.
Beatles, didn't they attract the kids that now those kids are 50, 60, and 70 years old?
Do you see people talking about what's her name, Taylor Swift, like 50 years from now? In the same way that people talk about the Beatles. I just don't see it at that level. It's just my own personal opinion. You're not going to see bands like the Rolling Stones, like the Beatles, like even like Metallica. I don't think you're going to see bands like that anymore. He is right. The infrastructure is not there to promote the bands the same way they used to be. It's a different world now. And he is right. Napster and people getting stuff free on the internet is what changed all that.
Yes, that's for 100% for sure. The internet and Napster changed everything. That's where Spotify and Apple Music and all that came from.
And
They're
listen,
only
I'm sorry, go ahead.
they're only legal versions of Napster. I mean, that's pretty much what they are, and they're a little different, but
But what I was going to say is me and you remember a world when you didn't get instant gratification with anything, not music or anything, but it made it more special. Sopranos, you had to wait, you had to watch it. You weren't going to find out what was going on unless you watched the show. You weren't going to go on the internet and watch it on YouTube. You're at Sam Goody, you're waiting in line for the latest album coming out, and it made it special. It made it a big event, and you had to listen when you got that album. You weren't going to wait. You listened to that entire album that day. It was that much of an event to you. That
yeah,
precious part of rock and roll
it's gone.
is gone. You're
Yeah,
not
but
getting history repeats itself, but not in this. I don't think it'll ever repeat.
it's not only gone from music, it's gone from everything. That's part of the reason why we're talking about this article, is because I think 30, 40, 50 years ago, you read the article or you watched the interview. Now everybody reads the headlines. Look, we've said this 100 times before. We're gonna try not to get into politics here. But this is what happens in politics on a constant basis is people read the headlines and go, "Oh my God, I hate this guy." Or, "Oh my God, I love this guy." Nobody ever actually does their homework
Right. Get
to
substance behind that.
to find out. So really the point of this episode, don't listen to us. That's really the point of the episode. Don't listen to what we have to say. Go watch the 30-minute interview. And if you don't have the 30 minutes, go to the 1940 mark on the video on YouTube. The channel is Kyle Meredith with. Go to 1940 and watch it. And I bet you Kiss Storms Vegas as a topic lasts less than 2 minutes in total. And in that less than 2 minutes, he says nothing. Says nothing. He downplays, but he says nothing. He says, we're going to jump up there and play a few tunes with friends. Hey, let me ask you a question.
What do you got?
Do you YouTube?
I'm always on YouTube.
When you YouTube, how do you support the YouTubers that you like?
If I find something I dig, I subscribe to it and I hit like right away.
That's a great idea. I'm sure the creators appreciate your support.
I would think so.
You think maybe now's a good time to ask everyone in the audience to support us?
Absolutely.
To everyone in the audience, please subscribe to our little channel. And while you're there, hit the like button.
We're enjoying what we're doing and we want to continue to grow the hooligan community.
We appreciate all your support.
Absolutely.
If we're going to create our own clickbait here, well, friends could be Bruce Kulick. A few could be 15 songs. It could be 3, but it could be 15 songs. The fact that he's making it to be more of a KISS fan experience, I think we always thought that for the most part, that's what it was going to be. It's 3 days long. I don't expect to have breakfast in the morning and there be a band play. I don't expect have breakfast in the morning and then walk out to the hallway and Black and Blue is playing. I kind of expect all day long to be fan experience activities. I don't know what the hell that is. You have 3 days of events. I don't expect, to at 10, 11 o'clock in the morning, a band be playing. Any band. I expect that will happen, I don't know, 8, 9 o'clock at night. I only expected KISS to play once in whichever incarnation they are. I'm guessing it's probably going to be Saturday night. It's just my guess. I just think
one thing I think is going to be really, and this is the part I'm probably looking more forward to this than even hearing him play. Well, not necessarily. I want to hear him play too, but I think there's going to be a lot of opportunities for meet and greet to like meet all of them. That's what I'm hoping for. I mean, think about it. I mean, if it's not a lot of performing stuff, it's going to be a lot of like pushing merch and autograph things and stuff like that.
I wouldn't get your heart set on that because I just don't think it's going to be that.
No, that's what I'm hopeful of.
I don't think you're going to walk down the hallways and Gene Simmons be standing there.
Well, maybe lesser ones, like maybe Eric Singer, even though he's
Well, from what I hear at all the KISS cruises, Eric and Tommy also were very much men of the people during the cruises.
That's what I mean. I don't expect that like Gene and Paul to be hanging out in the hallways.
No, I don't think Gene and Paul are going to be walking around signing autographs either. I don't think they're going to be taking pictures. I don't think they're going to be doing anything. I think that's maybe where the fan part of it comes, is what they're trying to say is, hey, and he said it, we're guests. So I have a feeling that, those two specifically are going to slide in and do a meet and greet. Like we all know they're going to do that. Well, no, I'm sorry. Do a Q&A, and then they're going to get up on stage and, they're going to do something. I mean, uh, again, my only hope is that whatever they do, it's something that we haven't seen 300 times.
Mm.
Please don't get up there and play Detroit Rock City,
Well,
shout it
listen,
out loud, and rock and roll all night. Please.
if you give me some kind of version of everything you do is like acoustic, I'll be in my glory. If they do something like they did with the acoustic thing and they just get up there and do some songs acoustically, maybe some rare songs we haven't heard in a while,
That's my thing
yeah,
is
I'll
the
be loving
rare
it.
that's my thing is the rare songs. Like give us a set list of Tears Are Falling. Give us a set list of, you know, this is probably crazy, but Jesus, if they got up there and they played Creatures of the Night, the entire album,
Mm. Yeah, it's not happening, but
I'd
I
be
would love
good.
that.
But it's not happening. And even if they did that, I'd bitch about it because I don't want to hear Creatures of the Night, War Machine, or I Love It Loud again. I just don't. I've heard it. I've heard it countless times. So anyway, I once again I thought it was interesting. I thought it was interesting that this little 30-minute interview turned the internet and the KISS Army upside down. And for our audience, please don't get suckered into this. Go straight to the source, watch the video. It's 30 minutes long. Skip to the 1940 mark if you want and find out that there is no news there. If you're signed, sealed, and delivered to go to Kiss Storms Vegas, nothing really has changed. At least for me, it sounds pretty much what I expected. I do expect Eric Singer to be there. I do expect Eric Singer to be announced at some point. If he doesn't get announced and he's not there, I will be shocked. I actually think I will be at least slightly annoyed by that. But it's a long time. We're in May.
Mm.
Uh, this doesn't happen until November. They're they're slow playing everything for whatever reason that they are. And I don't think anybody has a clue of why, but we should not forget this is the KISS Corporation, which is owned by the Pop House Corporation. Like these are not a bunch of amateurs. They're doing this kind of stuff on purpose. This
Well,
is
and
not
like,
accidental.
and you mentioned a key point there that we really didn't bring up until just now. Like to me, honestly, a lot of this stuff has to be completely orchestrated and planned because they have to answer to Pop House
I don't know.
in a way. I
I've
mean, you would think, right? It has to
I
be coordinated effort. They can't just do something without.
I think there has to be a coordinated effort. I don't know. The Gene Simmons and Paul Stanley that I think that I know aren't going to answer to anybody.
Yeah, but even the merch, right? The majority of the merch goes through Pop House too, doesn't it?
Uh, Pretty much everything other than the music rights, and they don't own, as far as I know, they don't own their music rights. Universal does, but supposedly, we talked about this. Kiss sold everything, but Gene, I think it was Gene, said that they retain rights. He didn't say how much, but they retain rights. And right by rights, I mean control in some form or fashion until they both die. And that's when it reverts 100% to Pop House and they can do whatever they want. Now, you know, are Gene and Paul talking out of their ass? They might be. My gut feeling is they retain some kind of control and they have some kind of involvement in decision making and planning in some way. I just don't think when you're and we all know that Gene is fascinated with money.
Mm.
But when you're worth 2 or 300 million dollars and you're 75 years old, is making another 150 to 250 million dollars, is it worth giving up everything? To me, it's not. I mean, if you told me, if I was Gene Simmons or Paul Stanley and you told me that I could sell the rights to Kiss to Pop House for between 3 and 500 million, and I could retain some kind of control until I died, sign me up. But if you told me I could make between 3 and 500 million and have to split it, of course, with Paul, or Paul split it with Gene, whatever, and I had no control at all, to hell with it. I don't need another 150 to 250 million dollars. Maybe, I mean, I don't have millions of dollars, so maybe it's different for them.
Yeah, but I mean, if you got a point there. I mean, you've already got money to buy whatever you want. Your generations after generations are covered and supported financially. So at that point, then I would think control would should be important to you. Like you should have. I wouldn't want to make a deal where I would have where all this legacy I built up, I'd have no control over anymore. I'd want
Right,
to have a little piece of it still to be able to do what I want at my speed.
right. And it makes sense to me because once they die, then Pop House can run off and do whatever they want. And what can Pop House do that Kiss hasn't already done?
Well, it's the Avatar, right? They'll be taking over from with the whole Avatar thing.
No, I understand that, but what I mean is like Kiss is not the kind of corporation that cares that you're, gonna have a Kiss stuffed animal. I maybe I'm wrong, but I think Metallica may go, we're not doing stuffed animals. Kiss has done caskets, condoms, and my favorite, air guitar strings. So what are you gonna do? What are you gonna put Kiss's name on to sell that actually bothers them? Nothing. It's a control thing. If you're listening to us on any of the podcast platforms, please leave us a review. And if you just found us, check out our past episodes. If you're watching us on our YouTube channel and you like this episode, please consider hitting the like button and leaving us a comment. Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any future episodes, and check out these episodes right up here somewhere. As always, if you made it this far, thank you for supporting us. And don't forget, if it's too loud, you're too old. Peace out, Hooligan Nation.